What was that delightful word? Shavity, havity, mavity.
Hello everyone and welcome to Savity Havity Mavity. I'm Gabs and this is my unlicensed gynecologist friend, Zakaria. Please say hi.
Well, you know.
An unlicensed one.
Unlicensed, Jesus Christ.
That sounds terrible.
Well, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of wet hands at the end of the day.
Anyway.
This is probably our worst opening.
Yeah. Sorry, people. You have got to accept it. Okay.
Oh boy, how have you been this week?
I've been okay. I haven't done much except today I went to the last place I worked at to give back the uniform because I realized I still had it and I didn't need it. So I just gave it back, did some catching up because the people working there are nice people. Nice middle-aged women. Kind of felt like, that's fun. Just a guy in his 20s talking to women in their 40s and 50s. Gotta love it. Other than that, I did yesterday. I think I made some cake, carrot cake.
Ooh!
Gotta love cake. And got a few ideas. Yeah. One day, maybe me and my sister will make like a big, tall cake. Just for fun. We added some lime just to make it a bit more, I don't know, not too much, just a little bit of lime.
A little garnish.
Little bit of lime.
Was the cake good?
Yeah, it was fine. Other than that, I don't think there's much, except like the neighbors are having visitors from France who don't really speak English that well. Oh god. And I don't speak an ounce of French. How have you been, my unlicensed gynecologist friend?
Well, it's been like 4 days since we recorded last time. Since then, I've well, you know that job that I had interviewed for?
Yes.
Well, I got a second round. So
Yay.
I got there, since it's like with the syndicate and it's like a warehouse job, I needed a health checkup. Bless you. So I got my health all checked up. Apparently I'm very healthy.
Woohoo!
And then I did a tour of the factory and I learned that at this point I have like a 70% chance of getting the job, which is very exciting considering that it's a very good job that I think I would enjoy a lot.
Yeah. Huh. I am probably gonna get a job at a kindergarten again.
Ooh!
Oh god. I'm gonna be helping out in the kitchen, and there's only 2 hours that I need to worry about. I'm gonna be there for more than 2 hours, but there's at 12 p.m. They eat, and I'm gonna be there by 8:30 a.m. which by 8 a.m. they eat breakfast. So I'm only gonna have to clean that up. But it's a kindergarten. It's very easy food. Only occasionally you get like, I don't know, very big dinners like fish. I don't know.
You're not gonna get like sauteed caviar or whatever.
Yeah.
Anywho, it's time for the one sentence summary of the episode. I have one if you don't have one.
Jinx Monsoon Slays.
Jinx Monsoon, that is very true. I was just gonna say, what if the Beatles are shit?
Yeah.
And that's
I
Devil's
got
Chord.
a dog. He's named Fred.
My dog is alive. He's not dead.
Yay!
Woo! Ugh,
Oh,
obsessed
God.
with that song.
Yeah, same.
Speaking of songs, we open the episode with a music teacher
In 1925.
which is the same year that the Toymaker came in, which is a very interesting detail that I noticed, and then Russell T Davies later on pointed out, and so I feel like I won't sound as smart now, but I did notice it, which is very odd, very weird, and we get Henry Arbinger, who is probably the worst character in this episode. I could have done without him.
Yeah. Being taught by Timothy Drake, which is the same name as Tim Drake, who's one of Batman's Robins. So who knows? Maybe Batman exists in 1925. Okay, that's
maybe he's the Bat part of the Pantheon. Speaking of actually of parts of the Pantheon, I was thinking recently about like who else could fit in the Pantheon, and obviously first thoughts. You know, gods of Ragnarok, Sutek, the Trickster, the Beast. Very obvious things to go for. But I also thought the Master of the Land of Fiction from the Mind Robber is essentially the Toymaker, but instead of toys, it's stories.
Yeah. Huh.
And there's also what's her name? The Queen of Time from the Lost Stories box set. Her name is something like Hexica or something, and she's canonically the Toymaker's sister. So maybe we're gonna see her.
Yes, and with the sister, as I said in my notes, the Toymaker's child? What?
That's true! That was weird to me. I thought we were gonna have like a pantheon that kind of just like all appeared at once from concepts. But now it's... If Maestro is music and is the child of the Toymaker, are we implying that toys were created first and then music was derived from them? Because I feel like it's probably the reverse, right? I feel like music probably came way before toys.
Yeah, early cavemen just unga bunga. Okay, maybe not.
Well, that's the thing, is that you can make music by just knocking on shit, you know? Like if you get two sticks together, you knock them together, that's music.
Or just punch two rocks on each other. Clonk, 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 clonk. Clonk, 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 clonk.
To be fair, that's also kind of how toys work. You can just... If you just have two sticks, you can probably invent games as well. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. I'm just saying...
Yeah.
I agree with you. It is really weird that Maestro is the child of the Toymaker. I did not expect there to be, like, family relations.
No. And I think you mentioned that the Toymaker wasn't a good dad.
Yes, they said the daddy was so bad to me, is what they say, and then they sing a little song about how mean the Toymaker was.
Daddy was so bad to me. La 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 la. I hurt my finger. Ow.
I just think anytime we have like a pronoun scene in Doctor Who, I just get a little bit wary because the first one we got in the Star Beast is so poorly handled.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, oh my god, it's just gonna sound like a really cringe thing. But in this one we get a pronoun scene, and immediately I'm like, okay, this is my favorite villain. 100%.
Yeah, I mean they're gods. They're probably not.
It does suck a bit. It does suck a bit that the non-binary character is spacey wacy. I feel like that's oftentimes what you get with non-binary characters. It's always like an alien or a robot or something like that. Because obviously you can't have a normal human who's non-binary because those don't exist. I'm being sarcastic, just so to be clear, so no one can take this clip out of context. I am being sarcastic.
Yes.
So that was a bit annoying, that because also Rose, I'm still not sure if she's meant to be a trans girl or non-binary, or if she was a trans girl but the doctorishness in her made her non-binary until the end of the Midlife Crisis, and now she is a girl now. It's extremely confusing. So the first actually 100% clear defined non-binary character is not only spacey wacy but also a villain. Is I'm not sure how to feel about this, because first of all, as I said, it's tropey, but also we need representation that is not boring. And Maestro is not a boring character. And so we get a non-binary character that is really interesting.
Yeah.
Which is rare.
I love her. Or them.
And then we get something really interesting where Maestro, as part of their power set, is like can break the fourth wall. Like that's part of what they can do, which is really odd to me, but I love it.
Even the Doctor did it at the end.
Yes, not just at the end.
Yeah. I mean,
The Doctor has a history,
twist.
obviously, of breaking the fourth wall ever since the first Doctor in the Feast of Stephen. The fourth Doctor did it a bunch. The 12th Doctor did it a bunch. The Doctor can break the fourth wall. That's established, but...
Yeah. Even the 7th Doctor did it once.
That's true. So it's already established, but it's really fun to see the Maestro, like, just look at the camera and start playing the Doctor Who theme. And that was so cool. The theme music played on the piano. I'm obsessed with this episode.
Yes!
But then the theme music finished on the Doctor's jukebox. So does that imply... Is that another one of the Doctor's fourth wall breaks? Because he was playing his own theme music on the jukebox?
I mean, that's an iconic move to do.
It is. Imagine like Darth Vader is like about to exit a spaceship and he's like, turn it on. It goes ba 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 ba.
I love John Williams.
Absolutely, he's great. And then we get their 60s outfits, which is awesome.
Slay!
I love them. Ruby looks so good in the beehive. Shooty, oh my god, that suit!
Yes!
So good.
I remember seeing the original images way back. Okay. Shooty's ass looked amazing in that too, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. Although Shooty is a very attractive person, he just slays. Because it does remind me of like the 10th Doctor's blue outfit.
It does. I have a little gripe, I think, with 15's constant costume change. I don't mind the fact that changes his costume a lot. I'm fine with that. What I have a problem with is that his costumes are too normal. The other Doctor that changed his costumes a lot was the third Doctor, and he always looked out of place, like the Doctor I think is always supposed to. He always had these really extravagant frilly shirts and velvet capes and really fashionable stuff next to like the Brigadier who was like in military outfit. So it was really cool. It felt space. It felt James Bond. It felt like this Doctor. And here we get...
He even had like rings and stuff.
Exactly. And now we get another Doctor who changes like his wardrobe, but he always looks good. That's the problem that I have with it. He should look weirder.
Yeah.
Then I noticed they sneak into EMI Studios, which is the early version of Abbey Road Studios.
Yeah.
And the Doctor doesn't use his psychic paper.
No.
Is RTD trying to like fade it out so we don't notice it? Because I definitely noticed, and it felt out of place to not have the Doctor just flash his psychic paper to get in.
Yeah, because I feel like there would be a bit of security at least to just stop anyone from walking in.
I mean, there probably wouldn't be that much security, to be honest. It's not like a bank. It's a music studio.
The Beatles suck now? So does Cecilia Black in the orchestra? Oh!
I know! Oh my god,
Yeah.
I love seeing Cilla Black in there. I did not expect that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't at first realize who it was until I looked it up and I was like, oh, that one! Surprise, surprise!
Surprise, surprise!
Yay!
But yeah, also, I do want to point out, I don't know if I've written it later, but at some point in the episode, the Doctor tells Ruby, like, if there's no more music, there's no more love songs. But that's not true, because Cilla Black was recording a love song. It was just shit.
Yeah! Best song of all time.
We
Next
are
to-
happy, I think, perhaps.
Perhaps.
And then we get Mrs.
God.
Merridew in the canteen, and I was like, oh my god, she's back. I need to
Yes,
point out,
that-
I did not notice Mrs. Merridew in Space Babies. She's one of the protesting people who like left the spaceship. But yeah, Mrs. Merridew is back in the canteen, and we don't know what's up with that.
No, she's propped up quite a few times. She's been with Isaac Newton. Yeah.
If you count
and-
the Boom Next Time trailer, she's appeared 5 times so far.
Yeah. So I'm assuming
lot.
she's important in some way.
I mean, it'd be really weird if she doesn't end up doing anything. If it's just like, oh yeah, we just liked her, so we brought her back a bunch.
Yes! We love her! So she's gonna be in
I don't-
every time period ever.
I don't know. There's a lot of mysterious women in this season. There's Ruby. There's Ruby's mom. There's Mrs. Flood, Mrs. Merridew. It's a lot.
Gotta love women. Gotta love women.
Yeah. But there's one mysterious man, the one who waits.
Yeah,
Um,
one waits. Who seems to be quite a big deal.
He does. I mean, he scared both the toy maker and the maestro.
I watched a reaction. It was like, the one who waits. And it was like, Amy?
Oh my god.
That would have been something. Just like Amy just casually returning like, Doctor! You could have picked me up! And I was like, sorry. Oof. All these incarnations later. Like,
Mhm.
oh god.
That'd be really interesting. Then
Yeah.
we get the doctor. Well, they go on the roof, and we get a super cool reference where the doctor says, "Oh, I live right over there with my granddaughter Susan." He
Yeah.
mentioned Tonner's Lane,
Yay! And then,
which is so cool.
yeah! And obviously, Ruby's fucking shocked that he has a granddaughter. Because, you know, to have a granddaughter, you would need kids. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, have lived for a good while to, you know, so that the kids grow up, have their own kids, and I don't know. Then again, I think it's obvious the doctor is an old man who has been a
Yeah.
woman.
I was thinking, so they reference Susan again, and
Yeah.
this is obviously for new viewers, so they're clearly like reintroducing her so that people aren't
Yeah.
shocked when she comes back, right? I think it's
Yeah.
gotta mean that she's coming back.
I fucking hope so.
It'd be great. Please,
Yeah.
please bring back Susan.
Yes, and please be Caroline Ford, just so she gets to have at least one final outing before, you know, going back into, I suppose, retirement, because she is in her 80s, so, you know,
Yeah.
she's an old woman. She's even older than my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Also pointing out the Sonic changed colors, and there's no in-world explanation for that yet.
No.
But the Sonic changed colors. Now it's like a pinkish red.
That's suspicious. No, I'm just kidding.
Then Ruby plays her own theme on the piano, which was sick. I
Yes.
loved that scene because Ruby's theme is growing to be one of my favorite Companions themes ever.
And while people were listening, one of them was this older woman, played by
Oh,
June
no.
Hudson. Yeah, you know, the one who gets, let's just say, the maestro isn't gonna be very nice to her. But she's played by June Hudson, season 18 costume designer from the classic era. She was involved in knitting the Fourth Doctor's reddish scarf for his final season. Killed by the maestro after playing piano. As it says in my notes. No, don't kill old women!
sad.
Yes! Like,
Um,
finally, music! Nope! Here I come to eat you!
Also, I knew it. I knew that this episode was definitely going to be like hit or miss for me because I'm a huge music nerd. I make my own music.
No shit.
I have an album coming out literally the week after this podcast is done.
You heard it here first, listeners.
Yes. But I was like, it was either gonna be way too simple music theory that would kind of ruin it for me,
Yeah.
or it was gonna be like really cool music theory, and it turns out it was really cool music theory. You know, it's very music focused, and I love that they spend the effort into making this for the music nerds.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like a huge music nerd, but pretty much the rest of my family is. Like, my dad was in a band in the late 80s and still is in a band, but not the same one as it was 30 years ago. My mom has sung a bit. My grandma is in a choir, I think, and my sister sings all the damn time. But me, I mean, I like music, but I'm not like super like singing all the time like my sister.
I mean, I'm very much a music nerd. I'm the kind of music nerd that analyzed the chord to banish the maestro to figure out what kind of chord it is.
Devil's
It's
notes.
a C major 9, by the way, just to be clear.
Okay.
So then we get, because Ruby's playing on the piano, the maestro is summoned again, and
Yes.
they giggle like the toy maker, which was really weird to hear. And the doctor is so scared, and it's amazing.
Yes. Doctor is scared.
Also, I love this villain because I think the best villains are villains that are very, very powerful, that have, like, you know, powers and stuff. But
Yeah.
also you feel like if you were in front of them, they could, like, just deck you in the face. You know, you feel like they're, like, physically threatening. And when Maestro gets, like, super angry and says, "Music is mine!" I just feel like I'm about to get punched in the face, you know?
Just hop off the screen or off your iPad and just Takaya he slaps you. And you can never
Exactly.
release another album again.
No!
Because of the RuPaul's Drag Race winner of 2013. No.
No!
No.
Yeah, and then we get a really tense noise canceling scene,
Oh god. Oh.
which...
When that happened, I thought it was something wrong with my TV for a minute. 'Cause I don't think I paid enough attention. I was like, what's going on? Where's the noise?
No, the doctor cancels the sound with his sonic screwdriver.
Ooh.
And then the grandma dies, and I wrote, "Granny, no!" in my notes.
Granny June Hudson of the season 18 costume designer. No.
Also, an interesting thing is that the doctor says he can't bigenerate again.
No.
He says that it tore his soul in half. He didn't say he did bigenerate it. He said he had to tear his soul in half when he faced the toy maker, and he can't go through that again.
No.
And I'm thinking if this is RTD kind of regretting bigeneration,
Maybe.
possibly.
Possibly.
Which I agree, it was a bad idea, but, you know, it's done now.
Yeah. Maybe they'll revisit it, sort of unify his soul again later on. Who knows? That could be interesting.
Maybe. It could be. And then he gets all the trauma back.
Imagine that you're like, oh, no, I can't do it again, and then just, I can fix it, but you're gonna have to get your trauma.
I can fix
trauma
it
back.
for 3 seasons,
No!
and then you get it back.
Yay! Pyramids of Mars.
Yes, Pyramids of Mars. In
Yeah!
Pyramids of Mars, which is a 4th Doctor and Sarah Jane adventure, not from Sarah Jane Adventures, from the original classic Doctor Who. At some point, it's when they're fighting Sutek. Sarah Jane is like, "Well, why don't we just leave? We know Sutek doesn't take over." And the Doctor's like, "You know what? Fine." And then he goes into the future, and it's a devastated wasteland full of just dust and wind and stuff. And then they go back, and we get another very similar thing. I think it's the second time in the whole show's history that they do that, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah, because I think I heard that in RTD's original run, he wanted to do something similar but couldn't because of budget reasons.
Ooh.
So now, 20 years later, he finally gets to do it with all that Disney money. Oh God.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's true. You couldn't have done that 20 years ago.
No. Or he could have, but he didn't have the budget to.
It would have looked shit.
Yeah.
But then it also, something weird is that when the doctor asks what time, it is for Ruby, she says somewhere around June or July, which means that it's been 6 months since the church on Ruby Road.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of space here for activities.
Even I thought of that when I'm watching it. Yeah. Even I was like, huh. So maybe they'll leave room for potential adventures in an extended
That's what I
media
think.
someday.
But also I
Who
think it's
knows?
really weird to have the second episode set 6 months later. That's a big time. I mean,
Yeah.
you had something similar in DW 2012, which is, for those who don't know, it's a Doctor Who fan film that me and Gabs first bonded over.
Oh. He bonded, yes.
That's how we first met, is through the fan Discord. But basically in this fan series, in season 2, the Doctor meets Lily as a companion. Now you can't see it anymore because it's been taken off because they're doing a remaster. It's a whole thing. Anyway, point is, they have one adventure together, and then we cut to another scene, and they're like, and she says something like, "Oh my God, Doctor, the past year traveling with you has been amazing," something like that. So it's already been an established companion by the time you get to the second episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it's handled better in in the actual Doctor Who, I think, because it's a bit less clunky dialogue, but it's still an odd decision to do. I feel.
Sorry, I just saw a dog out the window. Sorry.
And then they enter the Maestro's domain, and the Maestro looks so good in that dress. What the fuck?
Yes! Slay! I want that dress.
Hell yes.
Give me. I wouldn't pull it off as much as
Hell yeah, you would.
Jim soon did, but
Hell yeah, you would.
yay!
If it was tailored
Just
to
give me
you.
some makeup, style my yes, my little hips.
And then we get finally the motive we finally get the motive of why Maestro is doing this, and it is one of the coolest villain goals ever. They want to kill everything and destroy music everywhere to pull out the alien tones that naturally exist in the world when there are no people, and that is their perfect symphony. It's their artistic expression is through the symphony of silence, but that requires killing everyone. That's so cool.
Small risk to take. Yeah, killing everyone.
I'm going solo.
Utter silence. I'm going solo. Yes! So many fourth wall breaks.
Yes. With the music, that's so cool because the Maestro obviously breaks the fourth wall, so they know about the Doctor Who theme song. So they play the Doctor Who theme song to describe the Doctor as timey-wimey. They go dum dum dum, which is so cool.
Dum, dum, dum.
And obviously timey-wimey, the Doctor hasn't said that yet, but they know from the rest of the show because it's a fourth wall break. They know that the Doctor uses that to describe himself. So
Timey-wimey. Timey what? I don't know where he gets that from. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Oh, David Tennant.
David Tennant, you are
They control
you
the
are
world.
treasure.
He's a good-looking guy.
Mm-hmm. And then I love that the Maestro plays this weird, fucked up version of the Doctor Who theme, and it makes the TARDIS resonate in a way that starts to break it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. As a power, we get another part of the power set, which is the Maestro can make music that resonates certain objects to cause certain things. That's awesome. And then Ruby falls down, and
Dun, dun, dun.
my boyfriend insisted that I mention this. They think that
Oh, God.
when Ruby falls down and like goes out to the railing, they think that Ruby sees something at the bottom of the TARDIS. I don't think so.
Huh.
She just looks kind of shocked,
No.
and then gets up and doesn't mention anything. So I don't think she saw anything, but my boyfriend told me to mention it. So maybe.
Yes. Maybe it was me breaking into the set just to have a little glance of Shooty's butt.
Maybe.
It's very nice, very big and round. Anyway,
And then
I'm gonna stop being a creep.
15 says Ariyama, which seems to maybe
Ariyama.
be a new catchphrase. It's the first time that he said it.
Hariyama.
He's only said it once so far, but it's very
Yeah.
reminiscent of
Ariyama.
Allons-y. So
Yes. Alonzi.
then they go to try to find a notes of banishment, and the doctor's like tuning the guitar, and Ruby's like, "What's this music?" And then she gets taken by the like music staff notes, like floating, which is another
Yeah.
power that we're adding onto Maestro's power set. Maestro is powerful, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And then we get my favorite line in possibly all of Doctor Who, where the doctor says, "I thought that was non-diegetic." And every single time I watch it, I start laughing. Non-diegetic is a film term. Basically, music in movies can either be diegetic or non-diegetic. Diegetic means the characters in the show can hear it, so it's actually being played. That's like when the Beatles play the dog song. That's diegetic.
Yes.
Non-diegetic is whenever it's part of the score. So the characters don't hear it, but we hear it. And so that's another fourth wall break where the doctor, assumedly, always hears the score, but just ignores it because he assumes that it's non-diegetic, that no one else is hearing it.
Just like a little song in his head.
So it's a brilliant line, and I love it. And this is proof that this is for the music nerds.
Yes. Yes.
And then, obviously, he's like panicking, and he looks directly at the camera, which is, I think, an intentional fourth wall break.
Yes.
And he breaks the glass, and he escapes, and he goes to save Ruby.
Ruby.
And the Maestro looks so good with that makeup.
Yes.
They look like devilish.
Yeah.
Their eyes are like so sunken. Their mouth looks bloody. It's awesome.
I loved all their outfits.
Absolutely. And we get a great line from the Maestro, saying that Ruby is playing lovesick songs for a heartbroken
Oh,
lesbians.
Maestro is my kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when we could see their reflection in the spoons. That was fun.
Oh yes, we forgot to mention that. Yes, we see all the reflections of the Maestro in everything when Paul McCartney first sings a good song.
He's still alive. Paul McCartney.
He is still alive.
Yeah. Wait, how old is
He's
he?
a fan of Weird Al.
I mean, you would be kind of a weird guy if you weren't a fan of Weird Al. Let's be real.
It's true.
1942. He was born the same year. He was born the same year as my granddad. Huh.
Huh.
1942. My granddad is not alive, unlike Paul McCartney. But still, haha. He's 81. He hasn't had it, but and Dad was in his 60s, so he would be in his 20s. Huh.
Then the Maestro makes Ruby sing, and the song that she sings reminded me of Haunted by Evanescence. It goes like... and Haunted starts with... Long lost words whisper slowly to me. So the beginning was exactly the same, and I was like, holy shit, this is Haunted. And
Care
then
of the Bells.
we learned that there's a song hidden in her soul. Maestro dings the thing again. Ruby starts singing Carol of the Bells, and we get snow again.
Yes.
What the fuck is Ruby doing? Can Ruby recall memories? What is Ruby? What's going on?
What is Ruby? Who is Ruby? When is Ruby? Carol of the Bells. Da 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 ba 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 ba
Yes.
ba
And
ba.
then that's when hearing Carol of the Bells, that's when the maestro is like, holy shit, the one who waits was there at her birth. So somehow the one who waits is tied to Carol of the Bells. Maybe he was the one singing Carol of the Bells
Maybe.
when Ruby was
Maybe.
taken.
Now, who is the one who waits?
It's me. Then we get
Yes.
a music battle.
Yes!
Awesome. I love how they
Yes.
start off disjointed and then start to play together. And I love when Maestro is playing pizzicato on the violin. It's awesome.
Yes.
And then we go to find the lost chord, and the Doctor starts playing a C major 9.
C major 9.
But I mean, you could argue it's like a C major 7 add 2 maybe, if you want to be like very specific, because he starts off by playing the 1 and the 3, and then he goes an octave higher and he plays 1 2 3. So you could say that it makes more sense to interpret it as a C major 7 add 2, but it's a C major 9. This is picking at straws. Anyway,
Yes.
he plays a sharp 9, and because of that,
Yes.
it's a bum note, and they get trapped.
In instruments.
Yes, which is really cool.
The Doctor gets put in a drum and
And then
Ruby
bang
gets
on the head.
boom, 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 boom.
And then John and Paul go and play the chord that banishes.
Yes.
But they're playing just a normal C major chord, I believe. I might be wrong. I
Yeah.
might be wrong here. But if I remember, if I checked it again and again, it seems like they're playing a completely different chord than what the Doctor is playing. The Doctor is playing this really jazzy chord, and they're playing like a triad, which is very basic. And if a C major triad is what you need to banish the Maestro would have already been banished, you know? Literally, the first 3 notes, the giggle is a C major triad. La 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 la. Boom, Maestro is banished.
La 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 la
So-
la la. Accidentally banishes themselves.
Yeah.
That would have been fun. Just like a 15-minute episode. Oh no! Oh, okay. Well, Ruby, let's go meet the Beatles again.
That'd be nice.
Oh, actually, I mean, speaking of the Beatles, that's one of the notes I didn't realize I forgot. The Beatles is something that I feel it's weird that Doctor Who hasn't really done much with the Beatles, but then again, getting the license for the music is ridiculously expensive, as far as I know. Plus,
It is.
I feel there's a good few things you could do with like the Beatles, because it's one of those, it's British. It's, I don't know. I like the Beatles.
I mean, yeah, Beatlemania happened at the same time as Dalek Mania. The Doctor Who and the Beatles are, I think, intrinsically linked. And in the chase, we had the Beatles on the time-space visualizer. And the Beatles were supposed to come on in, like, old man makeup to do, like a future reunion show. But something happened. I think their agent didn't allow it or something like that. So they had to use, like, another clip. But, like, the Beatles have already appeared in Doctor Who through the time-space visualizer.
Which was in the 60s, when all 4 of them were alive.
It was. It was at their peak.
Yes, in their peak.
1966.
The year William Hartnell eventually regenerated for the very first time into Patrick
true.
Troughton.
That is true. That's a fact.
Yes, that's a fact, everyone! Yes. What else? The one.
Well, I wanted to say that the score of this episode is awesome. And I love the use of rock music. The rock music is very good, and it makes sense to have rock music in an episode about the Beatles.
Yeah. The one who waits is almost here.
Yes! Which is exciting. I don't know who he is. I'm excited to know.
Yes, who is this person?
And then we get the biggest fourth wall break from the Doctor when he literally winks at the camera and he says there's always a twist at the end. And then I really don't understand. Is the final dance number supposed to be, like, is it diegetic or not? Is it just the actors fucking around, or did it actually happen? How much of a fourth wall break is it, you know?
Yeah, I'm confused. I mean, gotta love some silly fun, but
Mm-hmm.
I did notice that a lot of people didn't like the music number at the end. I mean, I love it when it gets fun. There's always a twist. There's always...
Here's the thing. I like when it gets fun. I
Yes.
understand the point of that musical number. Obviously, this whole episode is about music disappearing. If you have a chance, you should end it with a big musical number. That makes the most sense. It's super fun,
Yeah.
it's super camp, it plays in with all the tropes of always ending in big musical numbers. And you also have the amazing pun of there's always a twist at the end, and then they start doing the twist. Holy shit, that is brilliant. However, I think the song itself does not justify it. I think the song should have been better. I personally think the song is kind of uninspired. The melody feels weird to me. It feels like Murray Gold wrote all these bad songs, purposefully bad songs.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that were supposed to be shit songs. And then immediately wrote There's Always a Twist and accidentally carried over some of the defining traits that make it bad, like how the melody is kind of weirdly phrased. It's like really basic melody, but that ends in a weird way. So I'm not a fan of it, and the harmonies sound weird to me. So I think everything was built for this number to be great, and they just fumbled on the actual music of it.
Yeah. Plus, Murray Gold was on the piano. I think.
He was! With his bald little head.
I didn't even notice
Sorry.
them until someone pointed it out. I was like, what? I missed it?
Did you know he's
No!
also in Voyage of the Damned?
No, that I didn't know. Now I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
And the Harbinger is still here, which is weird. Does that imply that the Maestro can still come back?
Probably. I mean, I hope they come back.
Me too, oh my god.
They slay!
And then the Abbey Road crosswalk starts making music, which is definitely not. That's definitely not diegetic. The
Yeah.
crosswalk didn't magically start making music. I know that's not supposed to be real.
Yeah.
And this is why it's confusing to me, because it makes sense for it to be real and it makes sense for it not to be real, and also so many things clash to make it either necessarily real or necessarily not real, and I don't understand what this number is supposed to be. But it was very fun. I will give it that. Yes, and that brings us to the end of the Doctor Who episode. However, last episode, I promised that I had a theory that I was going to save for this episode.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
I want to discuss it. Even though I have seen, since then, people online talking about it as a potential theory, I've had this theory ever since I watched Devil's Court. I was like, oh my god, I think that's what's going to happen. And to be clear, it's not necessarily what I want to happen. It's just what I really, really think will happen. And honestly, I kind of don't want it to happen. But here's my theory. I called it the Emperor of Death theory, and because I think that it's going to be revealed in Empire of Death. So,
Yeah.
I think that it plays on the Timeless Child arc. We know that the Doctor was dropped from outside of this universe with the
Yes.
power to regenerate. We know that for a fact.
Yes.
We also know that the Doctor can break the fourth wall. Who else can break the fourth wall? The Maestro can break the fourth wall. And the Doctor also breaks the fourth wall. So, then that started getting me thinking, okay, if breaking the fourth wall is part of Maestro's power set, if it's an actual power that someone can have in the Doctor Who universe, then the Doctor also has that power. Great. What else does the Doctor have in common with the Maestro and the Toymaker and other potential members of this pantheon, he has a title.
Yeah. Yes.
He doesn't have any other name that we refer to him as other than the Doctor.
Yes.
And
Doctor.
if you think about if you ignore that the Doctor exists, right? If this is outside of the Doctor Who universe, if the Doctor didn't exist in this universe, we just have the gods of the pantheon, and you knew that there was a god of the pantheon named the Doctor, what would you think is like their domain? What do you think they can control? Naturally, what does the Doctor control? They control death, right?
Yes.
That's what doctors do. They prevent death.
And can heal themselves and other people.
Exactly. And what's the Doctor's power? He can regenerate.
Yes.
He's the one who gave that to the Time Lords.
Yeah.
Also, in Space Babies, at the very beginning, he heals the butterfly. We don't know how that happened. What if he uses his Emperor of Death powers to bring life back into it?
That's intriguing.
One last thing is that when they go to the future and it's all destroyed, and Ruby says, "Why don't I fade away?" The Doctor just says, "Because of me." He doesn't say, "Oh, you've traveled through time, so now you're out of sync with the universe." He just says, "Because of me." What if he is keeping her alive?
Yeah.
With his Emperor of Death powers. And that's what the Pantheon is the Empire of Death.
Yes.
That's...
Plus, I remember in one of the old video games from the early 2010s, something like the timeline changed and Amy was like, "Why am I not dead?" And the Doctor said, "The TARDIS is protecting you," or some shit like that, which... It just reminded me of that. This random game...
I mean, the Doctor lies. We know that.
All the time.
So yeah, that's my personal theory. I think that the Doctor will be revealed to be part of the Pantheon as the controller of death. What I've seen from people online is that they mainly say that he might be controller of time. I don't think so. I think all of his time travel powers come from the Time Lords. I don't think that he has anything to do with time travel. I think his own biological powers are fourth wall breaking and regeneration.
It was the Toymaker's sister who was like, what? Queen
of Time,
or something?
But also, the Toymaker and the Maestro can both travel through time, right? Through their domain. So if you consider the TARDIS the Doctor's domain, then through his own domain, he can travel through time. Just like the Toymaker, just like the Maestro.
I remember checking the wiki, looking up the Toymaker and stuff. Henry is apparently the Toymaker's grandchild, because it said that Henry's the Maestro's kid.
Henry Arbinger, the Harbinger, as I call him, because I think it makes more sense to give him a title. The Harbinger is the Maestro's child.
Yeah.
The Maestro is the Toymaker's child.
Yes. Grandfather.
Oh my god, maybe they're gonna do a reference to that.
Sorry.
With the Doctor and Susan, and then the Toymaker
Maybe.
and the Harbinger.
Maybe Susan will come along to help defeat the Pantheon, maybe? That could be interesting.
Actually, if children of people from the Pantheon are also part of the Pantheon, like the Maestro is the child of the Toymaker, maybe the reason we haven't seen the Doctor's child, who eventually gave birth to Susan, maybe it's because that child is also part of the Pantheon.
Maybe we'll finally meet Susan's parents for once. Just finally.
Maybe.
After 6 decades, we finally know. Because I think in the wiki it does says that Susan's dad is the Doctor's child, according to wiki. Then again, RTD can do whatever he wants. It doesn't have to be Susan's mom or dad or whatever they do.
They can
good old Gallifrey.
They can do literally whatever they want. So yeah, that's the end of my theory. I don't have any other proof, sadly, any other evidence.
No. God, I just want Susan to come back.
No, it'd be great. So.
Yeah, plus...
Oh, yeah, sorry, keep going.
She's older now. Yeah, plus she's older now, so I assume she's obviously developed a lot, even on the extended media stuff. Because she's older. I don't know. Plus, I think it was an Eighth Doctor audio where the Eighth Doctor met Susan again, and Susan had a kid.
Oh my god.
Which was played by Paul McGann's son.
Yes, you told me about that in the introductory episode.
Yes, huh? And I don't remember what they're called. Give me a second. Susan. I don't remember. Susan Tolman. I'll just look her up. Susan Twist. Maybe Carolyn Ford will just pop up and just do the twist. Hello, grandfather. Look, I can do the twist. Okay. Alex Campbell. Because human. Yeah. Because I think Susan's child is a hybrid.
Went away with David Campbell.
Yeah. So Alex Campbell, Susan's child, and the Doctor's great-grandchild. Oh god. Yeah, so he's a hybrid. Huh. Human, the Doctor's species, it says. Then again, imagine being related to the Doctor. That's either amazing or fucking terrifying. Because suddenly you'll have some person coming after you like, "You're the Doctor's great-grandchild! I must kidnap you and kill you!" Ha ha ha!
That's true.
Or some weird...
Being close to the Doctor is always kind of dangerous, and you just have that by birthright.
Though if you're related to him, that probably means you get a bit of an advantage, I assume.
Speaking of Doctor Who, do you want to rate the episode? Brilliant segue on my part.
85%?
I was...
There's nothing is perfect.
I was thinking
Go on.
85% as well. Because...
Yes.
This is definitely one of my favorite episodes. It's not in the 90% segment because I'm always a bit wary of putting new episodes in there because I always have the recency bias where I always think new episodes are better than they are. But like 90% is reserved to like Blink, Midnight, Heaven Sent, the bangers. And this is really close to a banger. But like 5% less, So I think 85% is absolutely reasonable of a rating to give it.
Yeah.
I like that. Honestly, that kind of brings us to the end of this episode. It was brilliant.
No. The episode needed way more farting spaceships.
God damn it. I feel like that's going to be a running theme through the entire podcast. I really like this episode. I'm very much looking forward to Boom. By the time you guys listen to this, Boom will already have been out.
For probably a couple days.
For 1 day exactly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be editing this on a very tight turnaround.
Yes.
But yes, that brings us to the end.
Yes.
We should probably just say goodbye, I think, at this point.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye,
Before we
everyone.
get distracted.
We'll see you again
Bye.
in like 4 days
Woohoo!
or something. Savity, havity, navity,
What's that delightful word?
savity, havity.
Savity.
What was that delightful
Havity.
word?
Mavity.
You have been listening to Savity Havity Mavity, featuring Zak and Gabs. This episode, Grandfather, was recorded on May 16th, 2024. You can send us a message on Instagram at MavityPod or send us an email at mavitypod@gmail.com if you wish to contact us. We will be very happy to read out your messages on the show. If you enjoyed the show, you can give us a rating, a like, a comment, or a follow on Spotify or YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at MavityPod for updates and share this with your friends if you think they might enjoy it. We'll see you in 4 days for the next episode.